Hello and welcome to another, or rather a first for this year, exciting foray into the journey that is Pobble Live. And it's good to see we've got 8 viewers here already. We're going to give it a couple of minutes for anybody else who wants to join along and watch with us. I can see some of our regulars already chatting in the conversation. And I can see a couple of new names in there as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the structure of Pobble Live, and we're going to talk about how it's going to work. Today will be an introductory session, and it will be slightly shorter than usual, but we're still going to have some fun. So let's have a little look in the comment section. Hi, we've got someone from 4R and from 2R. Fabulous. Hi, everyone. People are finally joining. That's exciting. Hello, I know. Yay. Hi, Mr. Keeling. Good day to you. My screen is delayed because he isn't here yet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I am now. Oh, hi, Mr. Keeling. Hi, Mr. Keeling. I'm from 5R. Hello. Hello. Absolutely great to see you as usual. I'm going to give it just a couple of minutes to see if anybody else wants to join, and then we will get straight into it. Now, you can join this throughout any time, and if you are live, then feel free to write in the live chat by the side. If you are not with us live, then the video will stay on the channel and can be accessed afterwards. You can scroll through the video or kind of jump through the video to find what is most relevant to you. Now, if you are here and you are in the chat, unfortunately, what we had to do with our channel is we had to reset it. It wasn't working very well, so we had to reset it, which meant that everyone we had on our channel and all of our subscribers have sadly gone back down to 0. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Please also like the video. It will help to share it. And there's a bell icon or something like that, that if you press it, it will let you know whenever we go live in future. Also, if you have young brothers or sisters or slightly older brothers and sisters there with you, feel free to invite them along for a language gathering session. We've got some people that are joining in with the chat, which is really nice, because I don't like to be alone. I like to take a lot of our language from the chat. So let's have a look what's going on. I've been on all the Pobble Lives, I think. Fantastic. It is good to have our regulars then that are joining in. Same, I pressed the bell. That is good. I'm glad you pressed the bell. We've got up to 8. Whoa, can we double that? Can we get 16? Can we go and say, hey, everyone, we're online. Come on, join us. 8 is good. Oh, 9. Wow, we are skyrocketing. 9 people, and the chat is coming to life. I pressed the bell. I was shocked because when I subscribed, it was not there. Same. My little brother from year 2 is here. Hello, little brother from year 2. I love Mr. Keeling so much. That's the comment. That's not me saying that, although, you know, that is true. He is so cool. Okay, now you're just flattering. Like, we need to stop that. Okay, we are going to start our Pobble Live. And as you can see, we've got the regular Pobble star. Don't know why I put that there, but I did on the first one, and now it is staying. So let's have a little chat about Pobble Live and Pobble Live today. Oh, here we are. It's the welcome back screen. So for a lot of you, it is a welcome back. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I mean, even if you're not new to the channel, subscribe, because the subscribers are gone. So do subscribe. But if you are new to the channel, if you haven't done this before, basically, you are very welcome to just sit, listen, relax, type into the chat and do some writing later. Or you can write along. So if you've got your Pobble book at home, you can write into your Pobble book. If you have got just paper at home, or if you've got a laptop at home, or even if you've got a phone to write on at home, anything that is a writing device, you can feel free to use. Funniest teacher ever. Well, I mean, I just, I haven't won any awards for it yet, so maybe you could recommend me. Maybe there's a local award for funniest teachers. I wouldn't mind getting up on stage and doing a little comedy routine. That might be quite good. Pobble Star. Yes, our Pobble Star is back. Look, there it is, the Pobble Star. Oh, how we have missed our Pobble Star, but it is there, as are 11 viewers. Keep coming, keep telling people to join. Please promote the message and let's get people writing, because that's what this is all about. It's about writing and it's about having fun writing. I've joined for the very first time. That is wonderful. And the star is so cute. Yeah, we might have to think of a name for the star other than Pobble Star. Maybe we can have a little competition about that, naming the star. People who come to me at school tomorrow, or if they watch the video a little bit later, because it doesn't have to be live. If they come to me tomorrow with a story, yeah, that's it's a little straightforward, but I like it. It's to the point. We've got a question, and this is one of the things that I was going to go on to first. So, one of the things that I was going to discuss with you is not that, because that's our lesson. One of the things I was going to discuss with you is the Pobble prizes, because obviously that's very, very exciting. So the way that Pobble is going to work this time is just the same. So if you come to Pobble and if you put a chat, if you put a comment into the chat, or you won't be able to put a comment after, because I'm not going to have the comments up this time. So after the video's gone out, it will stay out there so that people who haven't been here live can watch it. If you're just joining, please like and subscribe and press the bell so that you get updates on when we do go live. But there won't be comments after. So if you watch this video when it's not live and you want to be entered into the Pobble prize draw, don't know why that's sinister. Maybe I should make that happier. The Pobble prize draw. Yeah, that was better. Better take two. The Pobble prize. You can tell I haven't done this in a while. I can't speak, can I? The Pobble prize draw. If you want to be in that and you can't access live and you have watched this afterwards and you can't type into the comments, then what you can do is you can bring a piece of Pobble written work that you have completed at home that is related to what I'm doing here, because it's not actually the picture that you have this week that I'll be teaching. So if you bring me a piece of Pobble work that is related to what I'm teaching in this lesson, you will also be entered into the Pobble prize draw for your chance to win an exciting prize. So everyone who's commented so far, you are absolutely already in that Pobble prize draw. And if you bring me a piece of writing, because you couldn't comment at the time, you will also be entered. It also means that I get to see some of your work, because one of the things that I really wanted last time was to see as much really good Pobble writing as I could. And I want to see more this year. I want to see people bringing in Pobble and saying, look, Mr. Keeling, look what I did after watching Pobble live. I want to see your work so we can celebrate your work, not just for prizes, because it's not just for prizes, but just for the love of writing and doing a good job whilst we write. Okay, enough chat about that. We are going to get into our first session. Okay. Yes, absolutely. You can come down to 6R to show your Pobble. I know some of the teachers are going to share this Pobble live to do with the class. Probably should timestamp it, because I've been going on for about 9 minutes and I haven't actually done any Pobble yet. But maybe I should timestamp it, or at least let your teachers know which bit is the most relevant bit to start from. But we're going to talk about, because this is the first Pobble, it's the first Pobble back, and because I want a more general focus, and because we're not going to be doing a long Pobble tonight, we're going to try and aim for about 30 minutes. We're going to focus on one aspect, and it's kind of my most, it's certainly the aspect that gets me most excited about writing. Okay, so yes, grammar is fantastic, and choosing how you construct a sentence is quite exciting, you know, because you have power over that word or that piece of writing and that sentence and how you shape it and where you choose to put the words. But actually, let's go back even further and let's talk about what is really, really, really exciting about language. Before we get into all those higher level features like pathetic fallacy, which is very exciting, before we get into those higher level features like emotive language or sensational language, before we start doing things like fronted adverbials, before we start doing things like relative clauses or adding parenthesis or active and passive voice, which we will do lessons on. Before we get into all of that, we're going to go right back and we are going to talk about something that I find very exciting when it comes to writing, and it is this: the power of language. Language is a very, very powerful tool. Words are very, very powerful. And there's that famous figure of speech which says, the pen is mightier than the sword. And to some extent, it is also literal. Now, I mean, not literal in the sense that you would have a sword fight with a pen. If I was challenged to a sword fight and I took a pen, that would be quite foolish of me, and I would surely lose. But if you are trying to change minds, if you are trying to change thoughts, if you are trying to pass a message, if you are trying to persuade, to get people to understand you, the pen is mightier than the sword, because the sword can win one battle, but words and language can reach everyone. Words have a power, and the more language you have, the more you know about how you use that language, the more power you have to shape your writing, but also to affect others. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily affecting what they believe or what they think, but you can make other people feel through your words, through the power of language. Language has the power to do many things. We call this the purpose of language, and I go on and on and on about this in class. I say, what is the purpose of writing? Why did the writer write this? Why are you writing this? Who is it for? Why are we doing it? That is the purpose. Language can be written and it can be spoken. Yeah. So for me, I believe that writing absolutely can be powerful and it can affect people. In fact, one of my favorite books got me so angry that I was literally bubbling with the emotion, literally bubbling. I couldn't believe that the writer would do such horrible, horrible things to the main character. And it really made me angry. And then I stopped and I thought, this is a book. This is a book full of words that some author that I've never met, that doesn't exist anymore, sadly, but this person wrote these words, just language. And those words have made me feel angry. They've made me feel sad. They've made me feel for a little bit like everything was going to be okay and uplifted and inspired. But then ultimately, they left me feeling sad. They left me feeling in despair. And I had to stop and think to myself, how powerful is this book? If it can make me feel this way. And that's the power of language. That's the power of having a strong vocabulary. That's the power of stringing words together, literally words together, words put together to make somebody else feel. That is amazing that words can have that much power. I like that comment. I thought Mr. Keeling's favorite book was Narnia. Or is it? Dum, dum, dum. It's one of my favorite children's books. And it has got wonderful language. And it's very much written in the style of a fairy tale. And I think there's magic to fairy tales. So I absolutely love Narnia. But I also have lots of favorite books from lots of different genres. And the exciting thing about books is I don't think I've read my favorite yet, because there are so many out there, and there's got to be a book. There's got to be a book that's going to get me even more than my favorite. Yeah, what is the author's? Was it a long book? Was it a long book? The longest book I ever read was about 2,000 pages long. And honestly, I really had to break it down. It took me like a month to read it. It was so long, but it was worth it in the end, I think. Not all books are, but a lot of them have some really good things. No Goosebumps, I think. Yeah, Goosebumps are pretty good. Especially when I was a kid, that was my favorite. You can do every single power in your writing. Yes, you can, and you can use it for so many different reasons. I love David Williams, and that's because of his comedy and the power through words and the power through humor. And absolutely, in your Pobble, what I am seeing is people using humor and funny things. One thing that my class does that I love in their Pobble is they make me little notes that talk directly to me as the reader, and they say, I've got a little quiz for you to see if you've been reading what I've wrote. Have a go at the quiz. Open this flap. I've got a secret hidden. And this is all really good writing because you're not only telling a story, not only are you using really good language, not only are you developing it in third person or first person, but you're using second person. And second person is where you talk directly to the reader to make sure that they're really, really involved. And I really, really love that. Yes, 2,000 pages is a big book, jolly big book. So language can be written, but it can also be spoken. And what we're doing in year 6 at the minute is we're looking very much at speeches and how we can use persuasive language to make people, 1, believe what we are saying, 2, believe in what we are saying, and 3, to change their emotions and to change their opinions. Persuasive writing is one form of purpose, but it's not the only. And then what I would like you to think of is, can you think of any ways that language can be useful or powerful? And not just in writing, but can you think of any way that writing could be used for a specific purpose? Now, I've got a list on my next screen that I will show you and I will share with you. But in the chat, can you think of any reasons that we might write, any reasons, any purposes for writing, and any way we can show the power of vocabulary and the power of language? I've already had one in the chat, and it is propaganda, which I love. That is a really, really good one. So we're studying World War II at the minute. So that's a very year 6 answer. And one of the things that we've been learning about is how in the war, they made propaganda adverts and propaganda posters where they used pictures and they used language to convince people to join in with the battle or to join in with the fight or to join in with the war. So that propaganda was writing for that purpose. Can we think of any other really good reasons why we might write or use the power of language? I've got fact books. Absolutely, it can be to inform. So one of the reasons that we write, or one of the purposes of language, is to allow other people to learn what we know, to pass on information, to help people to understand, to entertain people. That is a great answer. You can, and that is a brilliant purpose. It doesn't have to be some big kind of big focus in the writing. It doesn't have to be you are changing people's mind. It doesn't even have to be that power to change people's thoughts or opinions. Really, it can just be to entertain, and that is fine. If you want to write a story that scares people, that makes people laugh, that makes people excited, that is power. Yeah, you are eliciting emotions from simple words, from simple sentences. You are creating something to make people feel, and that is amazing. News reports, absolutely. So all across the world, things are happening. And the news, it's their job to present it to you, but they want to present it in a way that stands out. They absolutely want you to read their stories, and they want you to keep reading their stories. So they would use shocking language that shocks you. And that is their power, the power to interest you, the power to get you to read, and the power to keep you reading, using that sensational language to inform, but also a little bit with newspapers, because they are biased, to persuade. To persuade people, absolutely. To change their minds, their thoughts. To spread words and information, absolutely. To pass on a message, whether that message be just something that needs passing on to somebody you know, or to share to a wide audience and to let them all know what your particular view is. To persuade people, to persuade people, to persuade people. Yep, that's the rule of three, isn't it? You do it 3 times to persuade people. To express your emotions, advertise, to sell your products. Absolutely. To build conversation skills. Now we're thinking about language out loud, not just written language. Yes, you would do it to build your communication skills. Why would you need good communication skills? What does that have the power to do? It has the power to build friends, to help the relationships with your family. A quote, absolutely. So using quotations can change what people think about their own lives. They can see a quote and they can think, wow, yeah, I really agree with that. I am going to live that way. Absolutely. There is power in words. There is power in a quote. And some quotes live with us. They stay with us. They are part of us. For example, Martin Luther King, the I have a dream speech, those words, people know those words. I'm trying to think of another example. 7 years ago, I think that was Abraham Lincoln, and that was about abolishing a kind of slavery back then. And that is a key speech. And we're doing speeches at the minute with these kind of key words that are remembered. They are remembered and they are passed on because they are important, because they have power, the power of language. Using strong words can make people feel emotions. Absolutely. King George VI, again, found it very hard to speak, but delivered a very moving speech at the beginning of World War II that helped people. Poetry, yes. Sometimes the power of language is just to be beautiful, and that is okay too. Some poems I've read, I can't understand them. I don't have a clue what they're talking about. I don't get it. But the descriptive language that they use is so beautiful, so well described, that actually it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I don't understand, because I can just enjoy the beauty and the power of the language. Lacking songs. And I'm not talking about songs that just repeat over, that I whip my hair back and forth, 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 I whip my hair back and forth. I don't just mean that. I don't just mean repetition. I don't just mean very, very simple lyrics. But songs can be a basis for poetry. And some of my favorite songs have wonderful, wonderful lyrics to them. And I think you have to you have to balance, don't you? Because yes, there is merit to I whip my hair back and forth, I whip my hair back and forth, because it's catchy and it gets stuck in your head. So repetition absolutely does get stuck in your head. But really, what stays with you, what haunts you, what lives with you, what is part of you? And that is beautiful sounds, beautiful lyrics, beautiful language, the power of language. Theatre on the stage, powerful scripts, stays with people. There is so much power to language. Language and talk and communication and vocabulary shapes our world. It shapes our world around us, and it's a way that we communicate with each other. It is almost everything to do with how social we are, how we relate to the world around us. Language is everywhere and it's in everything, and it is powerful. And if you can use that power, you can create something beautiful. And that's the power of language. Some ideas, we've kind of already talked through a lot of this, but to communicate, speaking to each other, that's the power of language. To express ourselves. Sometimes when you don't have the right words for a situation, people can get confused. They don't understand why you're angry, why you're sad, why you're not joining them for a game, why you're not playing with them. Sometimes people don't understand what's going on. And that's because we haven't got the vocabulary to express ourselves. And if we could say what we're feeling, then people would understand. People would understand us. And that's a beautiful thing too. So the power of language is being able to express ourselves, but also being able to understand other people. We had this one a lot: to persuade, to change people's minds on big topics, on important topics, like the environment, protecting our environment. And maybe you can use language to really stir up the power of the environment and to protect it. Or maybe you just want to, persuade someone to give you their sandwich because you're hungry. Still takes language, still takes communication, still takes persuasive skills. You weren't going to eat that anyway. Why would you like that? That's not your favorite sandwich. I like that sandwich. You'd be a really good friend if you gave me that sandwich. What is that? Jam. Oh, you know how much I love jam. Sticky and delicious. I would absolutely love that sandwich. Why don't you have this pear? You know that you love pears. I love jam sandwiches. You love pears. Let's swap. It's a good deal. It's a good choice. It's the right thing to do. Persuasive. And then Mr. Keeling gets your jam sandwich. To inform, we had that one. To share ideas with each other, absolutely. To inform, to tell people what you know, and to educate. That's what us educators do. We're good at sharing information so that children can take in that information. To educate, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just saying. But yes, to educate. The power of language. You need to be a good talker to be a teacher. You also need to talk too much, like I do. No offense to any teachers that are watching. To inspire. So you can use language to really inspire other people. Maybe I'm inspiring the next generation of teachers. Maybe Mrs. Flanagan is inspiring the new generation of head teachers. Maybe whatever your parents do and how they communicate their job to you, they are inspiring the new generation. Inspiration is a power of language to connect, to help us connect. And that kind of goes in with expressing ourselves. We can understand each other if only we can express how we are feeling. And to entertain, which is a great thing, and we had as well. So a lot of these you actually brought up. So a big well done to the chat. That's really good, and thank you for joining in with that. So how can I improve my vocabulary? Because that's where the power of language stems from. It stems from having a strong vocabulary. And we all do it. We all read a book, or we're all in a conversation, or we're all watching TV, or we're all on YouTube, and we hear a word, don't we? We hear a word, and we have no idea what that word is. I do it too. But what do I do now? Well, I go on my phone, I look at Google, and I look up the word, and I find out the meaning, because that's how we do pretty much everything these days. We look it up online. In the past, probably needed to get a dictionary and read the definition in the dictionary. And actually, it's proven that if you read it in a book, like a dictionary, it sticks better in your brain. Probably because you have to go through the whole action of getting up, going across the room, picking up a dictionary, finding the word alphabetically, reading the definition. If you don't understand the definition, then you've got to look up the words in the definition. Using a dictionary takes skill. And because it takes skill, it can be more challenging. And because it's more challenging, you are more likely to remember what you've looked for. Yeah? Doesn't always work. I'm constantly losing my keys, and no matter how many times I try to find them, I never remember where I've put them again. But, hopefully in time, as I get a bit older and grow up a little bit, I'll learn how to deal with that. So I can see that Mrs. Meredith, who is in the chat with us. Hello, Mrs. Meredith. Please say hello to Mrs. Meredith. She has said some well done for some ideas, because what Mrs. Meredith has noticed is I've been waffling on and I haven't addressed the question that is on the board, which is, what tools or methods do you think can help us with language acquisition? So what do you think can help us gather language? Puzzles, I liked that. Thesauruses and dictionaries. What else have we got? Audiobooks, yes, and listening to books. You don't. If you are a slow reader, and I'll let you know this. I'm not the fastest reader, but what I do pride myself on is when I do read, I really understand what I'm reading. I'm not the fastest. I don't want to be the fastest because I enjoy reading at my own pace. But whatever I read, I really understand and remember. So it's not always about speed, it's also about comprehension. What else can we do to help build our vocabulary? Hi, Miss Meredith. Can you keep talking to us? That's very sweet. Comics, yes. Magazines, yes. Yes, we can learn acronyms or kind of like poems that help us to remember certain things like the planets. Flashcards, really good idea for gaining more language. So looking at cards. Do you know, one of the ways that I learned a lot of language very quickly is I was in plays. And you'll know last year when I put on the school performance, I'm very passionate about performance because learning a whole script of language means that you really have to understand what you're talking about. So I think drama is a great way to up your vocabulary. Crosswords, puzzles, absolutely. Up-leveling words in Google search via a thesaurus or just by finding synonyms and antonyms. Listen to Mr. Keeling for great words. Yeah, I mean, you absolutely could, but, you know, I talk pretty fast, so you'd have to jot them down as I'm going, and you'd have to clarify as well. Yeah, lots of really good ideas. Here's some of my own. Here are some of my own. So, read extensively. One of the biggest things you can do to help your writing and to help your vocabulary is to read. And not just read books that come from school. Read books you like. Read books that you love. Read books where you're not even paying attention to the fact you're reading. You shouldn't sit there with a book and think, I am reading. If you're sat there thinking, I am reading, you're not interested in the book. Find a book you love. There's so many. There's so many. What do you like? Do you like to be scared? Do you like to laugh? Do you like comics? What do you like? It doesn't matter what it is. They all have language. TV shows, absolutely. You know, there's nothing wrong with watching TV shows. I mean, a lot of YouTube videos these days, they just, I mean, I must be honest, I've seen some of the kind of videos that my niece and nephew watch, and I wouldn't go there for vocabulary. They're just a lot of like noises, like, video over. But there are some good YouTube videos, and there are, you know, some good TV shows that will help you build your language. So yeah, absolutely. Interviews, listening to podcasts. Yes, read what interests you. Absolutely. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. If you love that book, get those books and read those books. Vlogs, absolutely. Or blogs as well, the older fashioned vlog. You know, we're sharing authors. This is all wonderful stuff going on in the conversation. Your keyboard's broken. That's fine. You're here. I know you're here and you're listening along, which is wonderful. So what else have we got? Well, we could keep a vocabulary journal. Don't just leave it to the dictionary. Build your own dictionary. Any words that you like, jot them down. Do a word a day challenge. So pick a word that you've never heard of before, learn it, use it for that day, write it in your work at school, say it to your friends, teach them that word. That's a great way to learn new language. Use vocabulary apps. Yes, on your phone, there are apps to build language, be that English or be that other languages if you want to extend out into language acquisition. Play word games, watch movies and TV shows. Playing video games these days, they tend to have long cutscenes as long as they're age appropriate. They will contain language too. Listen to podcasts, use a dictionary and thesaurus, practice using new words in sentence or daily speech. Talk to a range of people. So not just your friends and peers, but people who visit the school. We have our greeters that come and speak to people that are touring the schools. You know, maybe volunteer to do that and to talk to other people around school. Go and talk to Miss Meredith. I'm sure she would absolutely love it if you want to articulate something beautiful to her. Go and talk to Mrs. Flanagan. Go and talk to the other teachers. Practice your formal language in the way that you speak with adults. Wonderful encyclopedias. taking time to learn and to practice and to go over things, wonderful ideas, paying attention to English, really paying attention to when other people talk and learning from one another. All will build our vocabulary, which will in turn help us when we are trying to create powerful language. Okay, we're going to help each other now, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our task. And this is the task that if you are watching this, after we've been live, you can bring this to me, or you can bring this to Miss Meredith, or you can bring this to Miss Flanagan, and you can show us and say, look, I've done the work. I've had a really good time, and you could be put in for that Pobble prize. So here is the task. You're going to go back through the video, and I'm going to introduce it in a minute so that you can watch it. You're going to go through the video, and you're going to choose a picture. I've got 3 pictures that I want to discuss. You're going to write a short, descriptive paragraph about that image, really thinking about what we've talked about, the power of language. Yes, the prize will be drawn, and it will be on Pobble Live next week. Really thinking about the power of language. Use some good language that we've gathered today, and use the earlier given tools to capture even more great language. So that's what we just talked about. Ways that you can build your vocabulary. You can go back to that in the video and use those methods. So, choose your favorite book, find some words from it, watch a little bit of TV, listen out for the language, watch a few YouTube videos, as long as they're about language acquisition, and gather the language from it. Any way that you can gather language, start gathering it and put it into your description. And then return your Pobble Live work to school for a chance to win a prize. I might talk to Mrs. Meredith and to Mrs. Flanagan about doing 2 prizes, one for the chat, because you've done so well in this chat, but then also maybe one for the best piece of work that we see. That might be nice too. I'll have a word with Mrs. Flanagan and we'll see what we can do. But for now, let's go and have a look at the pictures, because I want your help just before we finish. So the challenge is to describe either that was a big thing about language acquisition. Work with your friends, work with your families, and work with teachers. And use those teachers, use those people around you to gather more language. Like today, when you do this piece of work and you are writing a really good piece of work that you're going to bring back, use your parents, use your cousins, use your brothers, use your sisters, and gather good language that they know that you might not know. Okay, here's the challenge then. You can choose picture A. Here it is, a nice, beautiful, serene, peaceful, calm place that you will describe the golden sun as it crests the hill and sets, revealing a multitude and an array of different colors that paint the sky like an artist's canvas. That was the word I was looking for. Some language there that you might want to steal. Not stealing, it's magpieing, isn't it? So picture A, or you can go for picture B, which is a little bit more mystical, a little bit more mysterious. Maybe something a little bit odd could happen here. Yes, it's certainly eye-catching, but this is more of your magical kind of description, and we'll gather some words for it in a moment. Or you can choose picture C. And picture C would be the one that I choose. Why? Mr. Keeling likes spooky. So maybe you want to describe this, and this is where you can get all your negative language, because language can be positive, it can be negative, and it can be somewhere in between. And this is where you use all your negative description, dark and maybe mysterious again, or mystifying, or condemned, or ramshackled, or maybe you do phrases, barely standing, just a breath away from collapsing. Yeah. Lots of language that you can take from me, but I'm going to ask for your help now before we finish. So let's generate some really good language for picture A. How would you describe this? I'm going to give you a few seconds to put it in the chat. And then if you like the language, if you're watching this video, use the language in your description. I've already given you some. Show-stopping. The view was show-stopping. It was the ultimate in paradise. Absolutely show-stopping. Felt dreamy, yeah, dream-like. That would be using a hyphen, which is year 5 and 6 grammar. You would use a hyphen, dream-like. Love that. dreamlike, ethereal. Yeah, wow, ethereal, almost like it's not real. Yeah, kind of ghostly, but still ethereal reminds me of beauty. So that's a wonderful word that you might want to use. Eye-catching, absolutely. It grabs your attention. Attention grabbing is another one that you could say. Dusk, I think dusk is a little bit darker. So maybe you could think about what comes just prior to dusk. Yeah, the twilight, maybe the twinkling twilight. Mystical, yes. Scintillating, yeah. Rising those senses, absolutely. Lovely words. And if you've heard a really good word, I'd love to see some of these words in some sentences. The charming sundown, the charming sunset. And maybe we personify that sun, the lazy sun, the sleepy sun, the tired sun. Oh, the hard-working sun. Yeah, maybe we give that sun some kind of personality. All right, we could talk about the color, we could talk about the hills, we could use positional language, but really what we're focused on is these really good words today. And when I see your work, that's what I'm going to be looking for, that really good language. Okay. Picture B, can we have anything for this? Any words that you might want to add to the few words that I've put in there about this picture? Yeah, we could say magically. That could relate to the sunset as well. Magical, absolutely. Lots of magical things going on. What else could we say about this image? I guess dreamlike would work for this, or dreamy would work for this as well, like we've had. A little eerie, yeah, maybe. There's a bit of a mystery to it, and maybe it's eerie. I certainly think that spooky house would be more eerie, but yeah, we could use eerie and a little bit spooky. Yeah, we could talk about the place looked like witches would dwell there, yeah? So it's kind of comparing it to this kind of Fantasyland or fairyland, like we've put there. Yeah, darkening, maybe not dark, so we don't want to be too negative, do we? Nefarious, maybe that would be the next picture. I think that's a little too harsh, but certainly dreamlike and mystical and magical, and maybe a place for weary travelers to rest amongst the multitude of flowers that are springing into life all around, the twinkling and the twilights dancing by. Wonderland, wonderful. Okay. I think we're going to get more for this last one as well. So let's have a quick look at this one too. What kind of language might we use here? What kind of language might we use here? This is the fun one. This is what I would like. Well, like prophecy for the last one, the place that the prophecy foretold of. Yeah, certainly dark. Yeah, what else there? Let's go more. Let's up level. Crooked. The house is crooked. Yeah, it's a blood-curdling place. It makes your blood run cold. And maybe you could use that metaphor. Your blood ran as cold as ice. Yeah, or your blood turned to ice. What else might you say for this kind of place? Well, you certainly use your words like horrifying, petrifying, terrifying, all of your fyings. What else could we use? Spine chilling, spine tingling, absolutely. You could say goosebump inducing. So it makes all those little goosebumps stand up on your skin because you're so scared. And you might ponder whether or not to run away, whether or not to escape, whether or not to dash. But ultimately, your bravery takes over. Bravery? Is it bravery? Is it bravery? Or is it foolishness? I don't know, but I'm going to proceed to this ramshackle, falling down, condemned building with the dark shapes and the dark shadows and the dark stairway. And I'm going to climb it as it creaks, as it screams, as it howls, as I get to that rusted handle and I turn it, and that screech matches my own. Ah! The door ajar creaks open nightmarishly. A parliament of owls fly by as the shivers take over my entire body. Lovely. Some really, really... Oh, abandon's a good word as well. I really like that one. Thank you. What I want us to take away from this is in everything that we do, in everything that we write, there are two things at play. One is structure. How we decide to build our sentences and how we decide our purpose. The second is language. And language is the really fun part. And more than just doing these tasks today, what I want you to do is to have fun finding new language. Not just finding, though, sharing new language, because that's what language is all about. Language is about sharing with each other, sharing our experiences, sharing what we know, and communication. So I'll leave you with that. Go and have some wonderful fun learning new words that I really want you to bring back to school and to share with me. Because if there's one thing love, I love learning new words and I love learning new language, because it's an amazing way for me to be able to understand you and for you to be able to understand the world. Have fun. Do some excellent writing. Until next time. Until next time. Happy writing. Keep writing. And more than anything else, keep on pobbling.